Well, if you've been putting off cleaning a really messy bedroom because you don't know where to start, you're afraid it's gonna take too long, or you're worried about battles with your kids, don't worry. We're gonna share with you some really simple tips of how you can clean the messiest of bedrooms in an hour or less. It doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to be dramatic either. We'll share that with you coming up next. Well, hi, I'm Dawn from The Minimal Mom. If we have not met before, I am married to Tom. We have 4 kids, ages 4 through 9, that inhabit this bedroom, and they're the ones that made it look like such a disaster. But we just enjoy sharing about our family's minimalist lifestyle. And so basically, we just cleared out our house of all the junk we didn't need or use, and it's not weird, we don't miss anything, and the benefits have just been really awesome. So I enjoy sharing tips and tricks of how you can simplify your house really quickly too. And that leads us to our children's bedroom. So there's a few mistakes that I made which allowed it to turn into such a mess. So I'm gonna share those with you, along with my best tips of how you can simplify it really quickly and how to deal with kids that don't want to part with any of their stuff. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Okay, so here's how we're gonna tackle this. I'm gonna have the girls get busy picking out the things that they're gonna keep, so to hang up on their hangers and to fill their bins. The boys, actually, they don't even really have clothes up here because, as I shared in my laundry video, their clothes stay downstairs in our laundry rooms. And so any clothes that the girls don't want anymore, don't fit, don't wear, we're just gonna throw on a pile to donate. We're gonna make a pile for dirty laundry. I have a garbage bag. Any toys that have found their way in here, we're gonna throw out on the landing, and we'll take care of those later. So basically, we're just gonna sort through everything really quickly, and it really doesn't have to take a long time. If you have questions about something like, oh, I'm not sure if we should keep it or not, err on the side of getting rid of it. Chances are you just don't need it. We just don't need as much stuff as we have. It's just how it is. So err on the side of getting rid of it. All of this stuff can be replaced really easily. Here's just a couple things about our children's room. All 4 of our kids share a room right now. We plan to remodel down the road, totally redo this space up here. Then we'll have multiple bedrooms upstairs, and we just plan on redoing a lot of it. But for right now, they're all in one bedroom. We will talk about how we make that work in an upcoming video, because I do think it's good for kids to share rooms, and I think they like the company in their bedroom. So it's been really good, but I'll do a video with Tom about that because he was really instrumental in that process. The second thing is that we decided quite a while ago that we wouldn't have toys in the kids' bedroom, because when they're in here, we just need them to be sleeping, and that's what we want this room to be for. So we store their clothes in here and they sleep in here, but that's it. I have another video about that, as well as about stuffed animals, so I'll link to that video down below. The third thing, I think our kids deserve to have a clean and clutter-free room to go to sleep in each night. I think that we all just function better, we can process the day better if we're in just kind of a clean and organized space. So that's important to me, and that's what I want for them. Okay, so how did this room turn into such a disaster? Well, there's 3 mistakes that I made. The first is that I have a Rubbermaid tote for each of the kids for clothes for them to grow into. So we accept hand-me-downs. I get clothes at garage sales, and we had these totes out, and some of them were using them kind of as nightstands next to their bed, which again is fine because until we remodel, it just kind of is what it is. The problem was they're not supposed to go into them, so they had just started pulling stuff out of them. Everything got mixed up, and I just hadn't taken the time to get everything sorted back out, but also to properly switch out their clothes from season to season. So that was my fault. The second thing was that, especially for our older daughters, they're 7 and 9, and I was still trying to pick out all the clothes that they wore. Like for our 7-year-old, I got these, like, what I thought were really cute dresses at a garage sale, thinking that she would love them. But honestly, the day I brought them home, she said she didn't like them. But I thought, well, I'm just gonna hang them up in her closet, you know, and at some point she's gonna fall in love with them and she'll wear them and she'll look super cute. And now it's been, I don't know, multiple months later, she still doesn't care for them, but I was having them in there, and so we were having extra clothing out of stuff I wanted them to wear, even though they were never choosing it. But I will tell you this, I do reserve the right that when we go to church or like a social gathering, that I get to pick out what they wear. I don't always exercise that right, but I do reserve it. So I try to set aside one outfit per child for that. But then the rest, I just have decided I need to let them wear what they want to wear, because they're getting to an age where, yes, they can pick out their clothes and they can have that choice. So let's talk about the frequently asked questions that come up when we're talking about kids' rooms. 1, should your kids be involved with the process of simplifying their rooms? So yes, I do think that they should be involved in the process as they get older. I have a separate video about whether or not kids should be involved with simplifying their toys, and I think those principles apply to this as well. So I'm going to link to that down below. But for our daughters that are 7 or 9, I do think they're old enough and they should have a say in the things that stay in their bedroom, things that get donated or discarded. But I think it's important for us to set some guidelines for the kids and not just say, okay, we're going to go into your room and hold up every item and you choose if you want it to keep it or not. That is horrifying. It takes too long. It's dramatic. So here's what I did. I said, okay, take your hangers out of your closet. We have a set number of hangers in their closet. Pull them out, put them on your bed, hang up the shirts on your hangers that you want to keep. And so they were just picking out the things that they wanted to keep. They didn't have to worry about the rest of the stuff or what was going to happen to it. That's my job. So they picked out the tops that they wanted to keep, put them on their hangers along with a couple of dresses. They filled their bins with their bottoms, pajamas, and sweatshirts or cardigans. And then everything had to fit in the bins and on the hangers. So they picked out that stuff, and then I get to decide what to do with the rest. And that's, again, a right that I reserve. The second thing was they know that they can have 3 stuffed animals on their bed, so they picked those out. And then if they have any treasures, trinkets, little things like that, then I had them set those aside as well. But everything had to be set out on their bed, and they don't get an unlimited amount. So what do we do though if our kids want to keep everything? Again, I have a separate video about this. The tactic that seems to work the best is just to buy it from them, or like right now we're right before Christmas or if it's before their birthday, to say, well, that's fine, but unfortunately your room is full now, and so we can't accept any new presents with your room how it is. The other method, of course, that I'm a big advocate for is to just take a box and say, you know, we're just gonna put the extra stuff in there to see if we, you know, need to pull any of it out. It's just gonna be in storage. Don't worry about it. It's not going anywhere. So you know your kids and what would work best for them, but let's not just say, oh, well, they don't want to part with anything, so I don't know what to do, or we're not gonna do anything. I think it is so important that we show them what it feels like to have a clean and clutter-free room, a place where they can unwind at the end of the day, where they can go to sleep at night and it feels peaceful. So if one method doesn't work, try another, but be persistent until you figure out what it is that works for your kids. Okay, another question that comes up is, what about linens and bedding? So we have 1 set of sheets for each bed. Each child has 2 pillowcases just because they were a gift and that's what we have. I don't worry about extra sheets because even like if they get sick, I go throw it in the washing machine. I put like a bath towel down in its place, and it just doesn't matter. I mean, how long does it take to do a load of laundry and dry it? Not that long. And then they have a comforter on top of their bed, and then they each can have 2 snuggly blankets, which are 2 like fleece blankets. And so that's what they get to keep, and they know that. And again, I'm just trying to put these guidelines in place. I would say Tom and I are pretty much in the camp where it's our house and we make the rules. So we do think it's okay for us to say that we can't keep everything, and that we help them through this decision process of what they get to keep and what they don't. I feel like this is going to be a really valuable lesson for them as they get older. Okay, another question would be, how much clothing do we keep for each child? So I have a video dedicated to that, of how you can simplify your child's wardrobe really quickly. It works awesome. So I will link to that down below. But basically the girls have about 10 tops and dresses, about 5 to 7 bottoms, and then a handful of sweatshirts and cardigans. It's more than they probably even need. Okay, so I am shocked. So as we were cleaning their room, we were throwing all of the clothes that they didn't need into a pile. I am so surprised at how much clothing that we're able to get rid of or donate. And another mistake that I was making was that even in their next bins, I was keeping too much stuff. Kids actually really don't need that much clothing. They just don't need that much stuff. And as we simplify it, it makes life so much easier. Laundry is easier, them getting dressed in the morning is easier. So I know a simplified wardrobe works, but this can be difficult now as I'm looking at it, seeing all these things. A lot of these things I, you know, paid money for, or they were a gift, and so it can be really hard to get rid of stuff. But my best encouragement to you would be, we just need to cut our losses at this point, because a simplified room is so much better than keeping stuff that they don't wear and they don't need. And so if you're able to sell any of it, of course, that's great. The other thing that I found has been really helpful is that we found a really high quality thrift store in our area, and it's been a really great source for me to get stuff for the kids. And so now I feel like at least if we're going to be donating a lot of this stuff, that I can bring it to that thrift store and I feel like I'm giving back to a place that has also benefited for us. I also think about, you know, like these clothes aren't serving their purpose. They were made to be worn. Them being strewn across the kids' floor or stored in a bin, they're not serving their purpose. And so why not donate them and give them to someone who could actually wear them and use them. And then let's also trust that we're just not going to make the same mistake again. This has taken a little bit of time, like especially for my mom and I, to figure out, like in the beginning we go garage selling, you just find all these good deals, and especially if it's like name brand and you just buy everything, right? And so it's just taken time for us to learn, okay, how much do the kids actually need? How quickly do they grow out of it, you know? And so it's been a process. So don't be too hard on yourself. You're not alone, right? Like this happens to us and it's okay. So let's learn from it. I'm not going to buy as much moving forward. I'm going to do an even better job of taking inventory of what they actually need and not just buying stuff because it's really cute or a good deal. And let's learn from our mistakes and keep moving forward. But like I said before, the benefits of a simplified house and organized kids room is so great. Our kids come into this room now and they're like, oh, it looks so awesome, and they love it and they want to be in here, and they'll come up and play in here or read in here or just do some things by themselves in here. And so I do want this to be a space that they can use and that's peaceful and a place that they can relax. And I think we achieved that today. So my encouragement to you is to just get started. It doesn't have to take a long time. Pick out the things that you want to keep and then just get rid of the rest. So I do hope that this is encouraging to you. I would love to know any tips or tricks that you have for simplifying kids' rooms quickly. And of course, if you have any questions, I'd love to visit with you in the comments. And be sure to subscribe so that we can keep in touch and you're notified when new videos are released.